Welcome back to Flèche Wallonne. Apologies if you have been watching the previous stream. There have been some connection problems, but we are back in the Wallonian Arrow. We are circling around the town of Huy. Known for its wall, the Mur de Huy. We've just climbed it. You can rewatch the commentary from that first loop earlier on. And we can just see it now. There's an attack by Wout Poels. Apologies for you guys who are watching this all back over again. Feels like it's a chore to be tuning in again. I do apologize, just like internet outage really on my end, which is far from ideal. So, well, Poels has decided to try to reach out for this one, distancing the peloton here for Bahrain Victorious. Bahrain, who've been having a really strong classic season so far. Who knows what they could bring in this race and in the hillier classics, because the cobble season very strong. We'll see what the hilly classics can bring as well. But for the time being, we are waiting on the Mur de Huy, the finest 1 kilometer in professional cycling. It's all building up to that point, as we all know. It's a bit like Sail de Prace or so forth, where we build up to the sprint. But Alejandro Valverde now off the back, just making his way towards the back, as it looks like Quickstep Alpha Vinyl are coming towards the front to organize things. Also, Trek Segafredo think they have a chance, as do Alpecin, Founder Murderson, or maybe Gianni Vermeer. Also, towards the front is Coffee 10. Who are they going to work for today? Maybe Guillaume Martin, is he here? No, he's not. Maybe it's going to be Victor Lafay, who's been doing very well over the past couple of months, actually. Second place on a stage of the TD Adriatico. Maybe he could get another good finish today if it works out. But with 26 kilometers to go, we still have time to see what this race is going to bring. 10 seconds of a gap to the Breakaway group. 40 seconds of a gap to the peloton. And the race still has plenty of chapters to be written. Alpecin Fenix there, just right towards the front. Groupama Français des Jeux. This is Jimmy Janssens and Bruno Amerai. Also up in the breakaway is Valentin Foran of Total Energy. But with 26 kilometers to go, it's all to play for. I don't think the breakaway have a chance. The breakaway don't do particularly well in this race. The best chance we had was Mauri van Zevenant a couple of years back, but he crashed on the way to the finishing line. Towards the front of the group now is Stan van Tricht of Quickstep Alpha Vinyl. Also DSM coming towards the front as well. DSM, they won this race back in 2020 with Mark Hirschi, Julien Bernal on the left-hand side of the screen as well, coming towards the front. The tall figure Kevin Genietz is buried in the middle of this peloton. Tobias Johannessen in the yellow and red of Uno X is mingling with Pogacar and so forth in the melee on the right-hand side of the screen, with Bahrain Victorious as well up there in the mix. 25k to go, and the breakaway is looking pretty futile. Simon Carr is almost up there, but he has 9 seconds to bridge up, but just 26 seconds behind him is the peloton group. We have a couple more climbs on the stage, but the last climb of the day, the Mur de Huy, will decide the destiny of these riders and the destiny of La Flèche Wallonne 2022. Apologies once again if you've had to retune in to this race. Internet outage, of course, on my end, so problems there. Always a problem when we get racing in Belgium. It's almost like it's tainted, this part of the world. At Liege-Bastogne-Liege in 2020, the one that Alaphilippe was disqualified from, I actually had a bit of a problem with my laptop. I remember that vividly. So for me, Liege-Bastogne-Liege is a cursed race. But it's all good. It's all Gucci, as some would say. Number 113 up in front, Jimmy Janssens from Herentals, the same town as Wout van Aert, not too far away from Antwerp. Wout van Aert, who of course is the Belgian champion, is also eligible to ride for the Netherlands. Alaphilippe's currently getting interviewed on television. He didn't finish his last race, the Brabantse Pijl, after getting struck by his own team car. He hasn't had the best start to the year, only one victory under his belt. Maybe 2022 is the year where he gets the rainbow jersey curse. A little bit more than last year, but Alaphilippe, what are his goals for this year? What are Quickstep Alpha Vinyl hoping to do in these kind of spring classics? Well, we'll have to wait and see. 24k to go. Simon Carr is up here, bridging out to the breakaway. Now is Simon Guglielmi on his wheel. Guglielmi from Chambéry. Over in the Alps, not far away from Aix-les-Bains. It's a real gateway to the Alps. He might have flown into the airport whilst going skiing. Impey now turns around to look at Simon Carr, probably talking with them. Simon Carr sticks out his hand to Guglielmi, thinking, drop behind me and we can make this work. So Impey, Guglielmi, Amirai, Janssens, Ferrand, and Carr. That's your breakaway group now at 20 seconds. They don't have much of a chance, do they? But we'll wait and see. The peloton are really starting to accelerate. Mainly led by Quickstep Alpha Vinyl at the moment. Quickstep Alpha Vinyl with their leader Julien Alaphilippe and maybe even Remco Evenepoel. He might try to be their backup rider, but Evenepoel and Alaphilippe work very, very well, don't they? We saw that out over at the Tour of the Basque Country when Alaphilippe took a stage win there. Evenepoel was celebrating an awful lot. Evenepoel couldn't quite finish off the job there. He was in the leader's jersey on the final stage of the race, but could not make it on the final of that stage. 23k to go and 18 seconds of a gap between the breakaway group and the peloton. It's not a large advantage for that group up in front. RKS Samsic comes toward the front, and that would be for Warren Barguil. Also up here is Bahrain Victorious, working for, we believe to be Mate Mohoric or maybe even Wout Poels, Dylan Turns. Plenty of cards to play for them, as there will be at the weekend. Also looking towards the front, Quickstep Alpha Vinyl, they have Mauri van Zevenant, they also have Remco Evenepoel and plenty other contenders for this race. Mauri van Zevenant as well, if he wants to rock and roll out for this one. It's his kind of profile on a day like today. Just seeing some chateaus in this part of the week. Scott's still resting from his podium. No, Dan Scott is actually on the Mur de Huy right now, watching the race in person. Thibaut, Monion Valverde, then Julien, and third will be Tish Benoit. I'm not sure about Tish Benoit on a steep finish like this. I don't know, it might just be a little bit too steep for him. This is the Chateau de Townlot. Can't quite give you much of an insight into this. It's not quite the Tour de France, but we have to research every chateau that we pass by. But nevertheless, this is the south of Belgium. Wallonia, the French-speaking part of the country, with a unique accent. Some would say an easier accent for foreigners to understand. I would say so. Une fois. I like the Wallonian accent, as I do the Flemish accent. It's a beautiful, beautiful country. I love Belgium. Really do. I was actually supposed to be living there this year. Nevertheless, I digress. We look towards the front of the race, and they have a 14-second lead. It includes Simon Guglielmi, Valentin Ferrand, also Bruno Amirai, Jimmy Janssens, Darrell Impey, and Simon Carr, or Simon Carr, who is this Anglophone Franco rider. Rides for Great Britain, but is also very eligible to ride for France, has a French citizenship, lived there for a long time of his life. From the south of France, in fact, but was born in England, in Hereford. Nevertheless, we watch on. We have 21 kilometers to go. This peloton group looking a little bit more feudal now. They're working together very well, but what's the point? They're just trying to stay in front as long as possible. Some of them have leaders behind. Arkea, they have Warren Barguil. EF have, we assume, maybe Uran or Paulus to work for. Total Energy, not quite sure who they're working for. Alpecin Fenix have Vermeersch. And who else is in this group? Groupama. This isn't quite a Madouas kind of profile. I would say Goudu on a profile like this, but he's not here. Quentin Paché as well is starting. As is Sebastian Reichenbach of Switzerland too. Team we haven't spoken about at all is Bike Exchange. They had Jules Janssen up in the early breakaway. Their roster includes Michael Matthews, who I don't think will be here, Alexandre Balmer, also Tsabu Germay, Jan Maas, Jesus David Peña, and Nick Schultz. In the team car behind, we have Matt Heyman for them. Also, a team we haven't spoken about an awful lot is Bora Hansgrohe, who have Giovanni Aliotti, Cesare Benedetti, Jai Hindley, Pat Conrad, Ida Schelling, and Frederik Vandal of Denmark. Other teams, maybe with a chance, Cofidis, Jonas Aguirre as well with Jesus Herrada and Victor Lafay, the Lyonnais rider. As well as Unos X, they have Tobias Halland Johannessen of Norway. He could be a contender for this one. As could Benoit Cosnefroy for H2Z Citroën, riding number 151 for France and for the men in white and brown. Also on the start list, we have Aurélien Paré-Peintre and Larry Warbasse. We saw Warbasse doing a lot of work earlier on, and Bob Jungels. I must say, I haven't seen an awful lot of Jungels since he moved to that squad. But we just see Simon Carr now attacking with Valentin Ferrand. Ferrand looking very, very good, actually. But here we go. 26 seconds now between Carr and the peloton. Actually, Carr and Ferrand and the peloton. 27 seconds. We can just see Mark Hirschi coming towards the front, the former champion. UAE couldn't be here last year due to COVID rules. So this is the first time Mark Hirschi's been here since his victory. Also, you just see the tall rider, I think that's Tolhoek for Trek Ferrero, coming towards the front as well. 20 kilometers to go. The peloton passed through that banner. Towards the back of the peloton, you can just see Romain Combeau of Team DSM. DSM doing well over at the Tour of the Alps with their French leader over there, Romain Bardet. Looking like he's finding some good form again, which is good to see ahead of the Giro. But there's still 30 seconds to separate the peloton group and the breakaway. The breakaway now just Valentin Ferrand and Simon Carr. They are the two lone riders up in front of this race, and we'll see how far they can go. I'm doubting it's going to go all the way to the Mur de Huy, but we cross back to the peloton, and it's being led by Damiano Caruso of Italy and of Bahrain victorious. Second place at last year's Giro as well, the winner of the Giro di Sicilia the other week. Not born in Sicily, but an adopted Sicilian is Caruso. And the man in the red and blue, it's great to see him doing a little bit more classics racing this year. Hopefully we get to see him shine at the Tour de France. He's not going to retain his Giro podium. He's going all out for the Tour de France. Who knows what that could bring. The Giro strategy is more Landa-based, or maybe even Pello Bilbao. But Simon Carr and Valentin Ferrand, great ride by Ferrand. We don't know much about this man. All I really know is from Vienne. He came second at Paris-Camembert. He rides for Total Energy. He's been riding with them since 2021. Was with their trainee program in 2019 and 2020. Just 24 years of age. He won a stage of the Tour of Rwanda as well, and came second at Poli Normand. Third at Trofeo Matteotti in 2021, which was won by Matteo Trentin, if I recall. He's ridden La Vuelta a España just one time in his career. And he has also taken part in Liege-Bastogne-Liege on 2 separate occasions. So it's, Ferrand, interesting guy. I'm sure there's plenty more about him on the internet. But this race, it all comes down to the Mur de Huy. That's why we're not getting that much attention towards Flèche Wallonne. I don't think many people really, do I dare say, many people don't care about this race. But I think it's true. Even our engagement and the hype around this race seems to be almost non-existent, in my opinion. But we wait and see. Maybe there's more to come. Nevertheless, this is Flèche Wallonne. 18 kilometers to go. 36 seconds for Simon Carr and Valentin Ferrand up in front. Simon Carr riding for EF Easy Post. They have chances maybe with Ruben Guerrero behind. But Carr's doing a good job. We usually say 1 minute per 10 kilometers. Bahrain just looks so strong. They always do when they come to the front. They're becoming this super team. We saw it last year at the Giro when they just managed to fly someone up into the top 10. Even onto the podium without really planning it. But ever since then, we've just seen Bahrain look absolutely phenomenal at the Tour de France chasing stages. Who knows what they could have done with Jack Haig at the Tour de France, but with 18k to go, they look like they're going to try and bring this one back with the adopted Sicilian, Damiano Caruso. Caruso, interesting guy. His father was a policeman. Caruso, there's no whims about himself. He's been a bit of a workhorse for a lot of his career. He had his chance last year, got two Grand Tour stage wins in 1 year. Doesn't usually happen actually to riders. One at La Vuelta a España and also at the Giro d'Italia. I keep forgetting about La Vuelta existing, to be quite honest. That was a busy time. 17k to go. Ferrand and Carr still up in front. Ferrand, according to his profile on his website, he's known as Fefe to his friends and family. Not quite on the Fefe terms yet, but Valentin Ferrand just up here in the breakaway. 1.70 m. He's quite short. Simon Carr for Easy Post. He's just been pretty strong, pretty consistent. Even last year at the Giro, just hunting down breakaways. And we're going to see him again at this year's Giro. But I don't know about you. I think my highlight of the year nowadays is seeing what the Easy Post kit is going to be for the Giro d'Italia. I think it will be an absolute masterpiece yet again. The one from last year is one of my favorite. One of my favorite kits of all time. I think that EF kit was phenomenal, and it was great to see Bettiol win in it. Maybe I'm just biased for that reason. Nevertheless, we will see what the rest of this stage can bring. 16 kilometers to go, 28 seconds of a gap. Ferrand and Carr still up in front. 16k. We have a climb, just a kicker with about 9k to go. That would be the wonderfully named Côte de Cherave, I believe it's called, if I can read my own handwriting. It's a little kicker before the Mur de Huy, but everything just gets decided on the Huy, doesn't it? Ineos Grenadiers, what are they going to do today? We're just seeing our stat providers highlight their team. Tom Pidcock already retiring. We see Laurens de Plus as well. Great to see him finally making his comeback to racing. Fraile, Kwiatkowski, Martinez, maybe. Martinez could do well. Rodriguez as well. And Geraint Thomas. Who knows what he could do. I'm just not very enthusiastic about Geraint Thomas at all, really, nowadays. But I don't know. I'd love to see him convert back to classics racing later in his career, because I mean he's not going to beat Pog or Rog, so we'll see what happens. Exactly. Dan Bookman there just saying, Ineos leader Thomas pulling question mark. See, that is the thing. What are Ineos doing in this race? I know that they've had a very good classics campaign so far. It would be great to see maybe the likes of Magnus Sheffield here. But there we go. EF as well coming towards the front yet again. Is this another attack from EF? As we see the earlier breakaway. This would be Impey, Janssens, also Arkea Samsic, as well as the rider from Groupama. That would be Bourdon-Mirail from Bagnères de Bigorre up in the Pyrenees. Simon Carr still up in front with Valentin Font, as we see Geraint Thomas pulling here. Ineos, maybe Kwiatkowski. Kwiat doesn't have the best record in this race. He's not quite the Kwiat. Kwiat isn't great at these super steep stuff. He was back in 2014, but I wouldn't say so now. But you never know. You never know with Kwiat. We'll wait and see. As well, I mean, Martinez as well. Yeah. Carlos Rodriguez too. They got plenty of cards to play. But UAE coming towards the front as well. They just see a couple of their riders. Pogacar rolling with the punches as Bernal comes towards the front. Trekkers like Alfredo. They've got Ciccone maybe, Brambilla too. But now Bahrain being just pushed off a bit. Impey looking around to try to find where Michael Woods is. That's a great question. Israel Premier Tech need all the points they can get. This is number 7 for Lotto Soudal being dropped. This would be the unlucky rider, Victor Vršjave. I mean, half of the Lotto Soudal team, I have no idea who they are. He is one of them. But in the team car, they have Maxime Montfort. But yeah, Victor Vršjave, if you don't know who he is, he's from Braschaat. He's 23 years old. He won a stage of the Tour de Savoie-Mont Blanc a couple of years ago. He's been riding with Lotto Soudal for a while, apparently. Came second at Liege, the under-23 Liege, a couple of years ago. I really know nothing about him. But it's great to have him here, the man from just outside Antwerp. In fact, I think I'll be in Braschaat next week. We'll find out. Nevertheless. We cross back to the race. And 14 kilometers to go, 17 seconds of an advantage for this breakaway group. And it includes Ferrand and Carr, 2 riders. Carr, I mean, interesting rider from EF, will be starting at the Giro d'Italia alongside Alberto Bettiol. And they'll be going for the Brit in that race. That would be Hugh Carthy. Had to think there for a second. The man from the north of England. Simon Carr, born in Hereford. But his parents are Welsh, said he wants to ride and compete for Wales. Once we get to the Commonwealth Games this year in Birmingham, not far away from actually where he was born in Hereford. Hereford just right on the Welsh border. And it's understandable for him. I don't think we will be covering the Commonwealth Games on the channel, but it's an interesting dynamic having Wales as well in Scotland so far compete. Theo Geoghegan-Hart said he wants to compete for Scotland as well, and me as a Scotsman, I'm very excited to see that happen. Having a Grand Tour champion, well, the first ever Scottish Grand Tour champion, racing for the country. It's going to be brilliant once we get to Birmingham. in I think it's July or August. I don't really know. I don't think I'm even going to be in the country then. Who knows? Nevertheless, UAE pushing on the front. Oh, just a drop chain there for the rider from UAE. Problem. I think it's Hirschi with the drop chain. Just trying to. Yeah, he's used the old change your gear down to put your chain back in place. So his chain dropped. It's crazy for these guys who are riding thousands of euros worth of tech. They have so many mechanicals, don't they? Isn't it insane? For the amount of time, like if you go on like a 100-kilometer ride, I could do that without having any mechanical problems. These guys seem to come through an awful lot of mechanical problems, which does surprise me. But they just take things so quickly. Ineos working for Martinez, says Thibaut. As well, Dan talking about Ineos. Josh, nice to see y'all here. Okay, Mur de Huy, not far away at all. We have a little kicker before we get there, but Simon Carr and Valentin Ferrand need to come back before that. We'll wait and see what they can bring, and we're just seeing the fastest editions of Flèche Wallonne so far. This one is 8th fastest, if you can see our stat providers. It doesn't quite get it in the top 5, but if you just believe me, 8th is this one. So yeah, still up in front with 12 seconds, Valentin Ferrand and Simon Carr. No one in the breakaway behind, so our stat providers are a little bit incorrect if my screen is correct. Nope, sorry, your one has been updated. There's no one in the void right now. It's just Ferrand and Carr. We're coming up to the Côte de Cherave. 1.4 kilometers at 7.8% average gradient. Has a steepest point of roughly 12-13% in this climb. It's the final kick-up for the Mur de Huy. It could provide a platform if anybody wants to come to the front, as Israel Premier Tech come to the front in a really nice jersey for the Canadian-Israeli team. Today being led by a Canadian, that would be Michael Woods, Michael Woods of Canada, coming towards the front. He likes this climb. He says it's like a running effort. It's like a 1,500 meters race in athletics, which is an interesting way of describing it. But he was a middle distance runner, so we'll see how he can go on this. It's the out the saddle kind of effort, all about the cardio. Also, Age de Citroën coming to the front. They have Benoît Cosnefroy to work for. Or maybe even Aurélien Paris-Peintre, who would like this kind of finish. But definitely Benoît Cosnefroy. He's done well here in the past, getting on the podium in 2020. He's had a good week over in Belgium, the Brabantse Pijl, and also in Limburg, over in the Netherlands, at the Amstel Gold Race. But Ferrand and Carr still have 9 seconds. They just go past the Frituuri, which is, a Belgian staple. 10 kilometers to go. Just seeing riders at the back of the peloton group. Looks like the small figure of Potsa Viva as well. Number 3 for Alpecin Fenix. That's Jimmy Janssens from the early breakaway. He's off the back. Tischbenot coming towards the front as well. In the absence of Vingegaard, they will have to go for him. And also, here we go. I believe this is young Remco Evenepoel at the front for Quickstep Alpha Final. So they must have a lot of confidence in Alaphilippe. And Alaphilippe is the current king of the Mur de Huy. 2021 he won here. 19 and 18 he won the victory here. 2018 was the only year, the first year in a long time that Valverde hadn't finished on the podium at any Ardennes Classic. So we'll see how it goes today. Valverde looked good last year, but we'll see in 2022 he looked good at the Gran Camino early this year. In fact, I believe taking the overall victory there, ahead of Mark Perdun, Slavo Krajine, and the rider from Canada, Mike Woods, who decided that he would like to be a GC leader. A bit of an error in my eyes, but we will try to look past that and analyze that later on this channel. Simon Carr and Ferrand are almost back now, as we get close to the Cherave, and they are back officially. Gruppo Compacto, with Evenepoel up in front. Evenepoel digging on as they work for Alaphilippe. Alaphilippe now just making his way onto the sidewalk. Questionable choice there. Oh, as he gets bumped by a rider from Lotto Soudal. But Alaphilippe just losing the wheel of his teammate as well there. Sorry, it's not Evenepoel in front. I believe that's maybe Stan van Tricht. Or Van Sevenot. Can't quite work it out, but I believe it's Stan van Tricht. But Evenepoel is up there around about 5th wheel. He is bringing Alaphilippe towards the front right now. Those two work well together, very well. I can also see Victor Lafay too. Evenepoel now bumping about. He wasn't gaining any friends last Wednesday, but Brabantse Pijl. Or Cosnefroy just rolling through there. Or is that the number 2 for that team? Looking very strong as they roll through. EF as well have plenty of cards to play. Maybe Nelson Paulus for today, the Native American. Riding for them in the orange as well. Look for Bora Hansgrohe, plenty of cards for them. Maybe Alexander Vlasov for this kind of finish. But where is Pogacar? Trying to quite identify Pogacar. We can't see him in this television shot. But we're going to assume, I mean, his sense of positioning is brilliant. I'm going to assume he's right up towards the front. But it's currently Arkea Samsic who are pushing on the pace. They're working for Warren Barguil on this stage. But with 8k to go, fireworks are about to be launched as we make our way into Huy. How to be Pogacar, block him. Exactly that. But with 7.8k to go, it's now Jumbo-Visma who are at the front of this race. Also, right up there from Lotto Soudal trying to mix up towards the front. They have Tim Wellens up here towards the front. I'm going to assume Wellens will attack on the Cherave. I'm no expert, but it feels like a Wellens place to attack. Ineos Grenadiers as well coming towards the front. They're working for Dani Martinez, who I believe is in fourth wheel right now. Yes, he is. The Colombian with the little goatee. Look out for him. Winner of the Basque Country. Itzulia, as some people call it. Also there, or you can just see the tall figure of Paris Peintre coming towards the front for Age de Citroën, almost knocked into the gutter there. As we come around this corner, the road will go uphill. Slight cobbles on this climb, but it's nothing too taxing. It's I have a level crossing coming up as well, which is on the pace. You can see Michal Kwiatkowski's right up here. Second wheeler rider from Lotto Soudal. You can see Peter Seri as well. Look, sorry, no, this is Van Savenant looking around as well in the wheel. You can just see Mark Hirschi looking good for UAE. He always looks like he's riding a seat post that's just a little bit too small. But here we go. Cofidis with 3 riders now moving away. Victor Lafay, also Jonas Aguirre and Jesus Herrada now have a gap. Team Cofidis trying to do a Jumbo-Visma on this finish. And Cofidis are roaring out of the peloton. Victor Lafay, the man from Lyon, is currently in a fantastic position to do well. A look around from one of the riders from Cofidis, and they just look around to see where they are. I think that's Jonas Aguirre shouting down the phone. But now it's a rider from Cofidis out on their own. Oh, Van Savenant's trying to follow as Cofidis now launch a huge coup d'etat on this finish. What a move this is from Cofidis. The French outlet dancing away with an attack here. I'm surprised that they couldn't all last that long, because that would have been absolutely fantastic to see Cofidis try to replicate what we saw from Jumbo-Visma. But how about that? Absolutely fantastic move from Cofidis. You can see Hirschi and Pogacar here in the peloton, not really panicking. Same with Michael Woods, not panicking. As well, the rider there from Total, they're number 1. Who's Total's number 1? Fabien Duby? No, it's Vuillemose. Okay, interesting stuff. At least I don't have Alexandre Geniez here. Also, yeah, Fabien Duby is on the start list. Maybe him. Cristian Rodriguez as well. It's not bad at all. But this is the rider from Cofidis out on his own. We haven't quite got an identify on him. I'm not sure. It could be... It's Remy Rochaz, actually. So Remy Rochaz up here on his own. Interesting stuff. I touted him for really good stuff a couple of years back. I don't think I've mentioned Remy Rochaz in a while. So it's good to see him finally... sort of fulfilling his promise, the rider from La Motte Servoles, which is down in the Alps as well. Quartier Dauphiné stage finished there a couple of years back when Fulsang took that whole race. But Remy Rochaz looking phenomenal today. 25 years of age from France. He's been riding with this team for 2 years now. Signed on for next year as well. But he's on his own with a small gap over Maury van Savenant of Quick-Step. Van Savenant, who loves this race. He really, really does. But we'll wait and see what he can bring, of whether he could bridge up as well. We also have A from the pool and Alaphilippe back in the peloton group. But Van Savenant rocking and rolling, the youngster from Belgium, who almost won in 2020. He's got such an interesting style on the bike. But Cofidis now head of the race with Remy Rochaz. Chasing on as well, now trying to bring this back, is Ineos Grenadiers, but we just go 1, 2, 3, about a 10-second gap that Remy Rochaz now has. It's not bad, but I don't think it's quite going to be a winning move for Cofidis. Don't think it's quite going to be the move that seals the deal for Flèche Wallonne 2022. Once again, our stat providers providing questionable statistics there. It's not Jonas Aguirre. It is Remy Rochaz of the Alps. and of France up here in the breakaway. We've seen people from a lot of people from that part of the race already up in the breakaway. But Team DSM want to chase this one down. Apologies, my broadcast now is just cutting out with 5.3k to go, trying to identify what the race situation is, but it's not looking quite so great on the broadcast. Whilst we're here, don't forget to like the stream and tell me where you're tuning in from. That'll be great to know where all of you guys are tuning in. As we get closer and closer to the Mur de Huy, we had a small descent and a bit of a flatland. I believe we still have. We now have a three-man group. It's Maury van Zevenhond, Remy Rochaz, and Søren Kragh Andersen. As we pick up the broadcast yet again, they have 14 seconds according to our stat providers, Pro Cycling Stats. So here we go. It is Rochaz and Søren Kragh Andersen as well. Actually, it looks like Rochaz has been dropped a little bit. So just van Zevenhond and Søren Kragh Andersen up here at the front, chasing on. It looks like Ineos Grenadiers. I'm trying to work this out. My broadcast is a little bit pixelated. Yes. Ineos Grenadiers with UAE in second wheel, also towards the front. A lot of Movistar riders. Israel Premier Tech as well, trying to get in the mix. But it's Søren Kragh Andersen looking awfully good for Team DSM with Maury van Zevenhond in the wheel. Søren Kragh Andersen trying to get DSM's second victory of the year. They took a win at the Tour of Turkey with Sam Welsford, the Australian sprinter. But can they get another win here as well? Oh, Søren Kragh Andersen, the man who's won in Champagnon, he won in Lyon at the Tour de France back in 2020. Hasn't quite seen the same success since then, but he's looking for great things today if he can do so. 3.5k to go. DSM need this victory really to prove themselves. They need the World Tour points. They are struggling. Van Zevenhond shakes his head. He wants Alaphilippe back. Van Zevenhond saying, no. He's not going to work with him, and Søren Kragh Andersen will be annoyed about this one. He's been in this situation before, remember? Last year at Milano Sanremo, he attacked with Jasper Stuyven. Stuyven didn't want to work with him. Stuyven then attacked away and got the win. And here we go. So van Zevenhond's really not looking great today. I mean, well, he's looking good, but he just doesn't want to work now. Israel Premier Tech want to try to chase this one down. If it's down to van Zevenhond and Søren Kragh Andersen up in front, who do you think will get it? I mean, I couldn't tell you. I would say maybe it would be van Zevenhond. He's done the least amount of these two. Søren Kragh Andersen had a big gap to bridge, and now he's just working on his own, the Danish time trial engine. He's looking to get a win later this year in Copenhagen when we get to the Tour de France start in Denmark. Maybe he could try to shock the peloton again like he did in Lyon. When it finished on the banks of the Rhone in 2020. But the peloton are trying to chase, and this gap isn't going down that much. It's Israel Premier Tech with their man, Michael Woods, who's their leader. They want to get this. I'm not sure if they had a television show commissioned about the Spring Classics campaign this year. We'll wait and see. But, they look around. They're trying to find Woods, actually, in the peloton, and they're wondering where he is. He's just in the wheel. The middle distance runner as well. Age de Citroën coming towards the front with Benoît Cosnefroy. Alaphilippe is up there, too, with Evenepoel. Lotto Soudal as well have cards to play with their man, Tim Wellens. We'll wait and see. We haven't seen a Belgian win this race in a number of years. As Thibaut pointed out, this could be a big deal if Belgium finally take back La Flèche Wallonne. Flèche Wallonne, of course, one of the biggest races in Wallonia. We have the big one this weekend, Liege-Bastogne-Liege. Ineos Grenadiers come to the front. They're trying to chase down Kragh Andersen and the other man in front, Maury van Zevenhond. Maury van Zevenhond, who really wants this stage win today. It could be an absolutely phenomenal win if van Zevenhond could do it. But Ineos Grenadiers really roaming home now. They're really trying to get this. It's a steam train ride from them to try to bring back the West Fleming. Maury van Zevenhond, who's up here in the breakaway. His father, Wim van Zevenhond, fantastic rider as well in his day. But he also never got to clinch the victory here. But maybe today could be Maury's day to taste success, and that will be a huge victory for him. Almost won this race back in 2020 before coming down in a crash in the final 5 kilometers of the race when he was out in front. And van Zevenhond looks around. Van Zevenhond's jumping about, and is he going to go? Is this van Zevenhond saying, well, I'm not going to work with you? 13 seconds now. Van Zevenhond with 1.2 kilometers to go, still with Søren Kragh Andersen. And van Zevenhond and Kragh Andersen looking around, 11 seconds of a gap. Well, looking around, it looks like Israel Premier Tech are trying to chase us, but there's not much impetus from other teams. And the input here is really just coming from Ineos and Israel Premier Tech. Von Savenant looks about, is he going to try and go in his zone for one last attempt, or is he going to try and leave this until the finale? 1 kilometer to go in the Flèche Wallonne 2022. We're coming onto the Mur de Huy. Here comes Breakaway from the pool towards the front. Alaphilippe as well navigating the wheels. Tobias Johannesson as well as up here. Victor Lafay just bouncing about in the wheels as well for Cofidis, but it looks like it's going to all come back together. Yes, it is. Carl Anderson and Von Savenant are back here all together on the Mur de Huy. Coming round the corner, and Kwiatkowski is still right up here with Daniela Martinez right in the wheel. Alexander Vlasov is in a good position too for Bora Hansgaard. What can they bring to the table? It's a rider from Movistar. We assume Valverde just rocking and rolling towards the front. And Movistar really here at the party to try to serve something. Here comes Wout Poels as well. Wouldn't be surprised if he does something special here for Bahrain Victorious as we just lose sight of Alaphilippe. We don't know where Alaphilippe is, but Vlasov is looking $1 million right now. Is this Enric Mas of Movistar? It is, it's Enric Mas. You can see the charge here, all from Valverde. Valverde here just coming up to Mas's wheel, number 202 there for EF Education First. That would be Rubén Guerreiro coming right towards the front for Portugal. This could be a huge victory for Portuguese cycling if Guerreiro takes it. Now coming towards the 4 as well, Groupama Française des Jeux. Victor Lafay still in the mix for Cofidis. Pogacar now on the left-hand side of the screen. The gates open for Pogacar to make it towards the front. No one's made that race-defining move, but it is the Mur de Huy. It comes later on. Alaphilippe as well, just dangling about, but it looks like Valverde is in a phenomenal position to take another Flèche Wallonne victory. Also, Dylan Teuns in a fantastic position. Vlasov too. The rider there from Groupama doing very, very well. Pozzovivo's finally navigated his way towards the front. Bonota's in the mix as well. As the riders are just bouncing about. 300 meters to go in the Flèche Wallonne 2022. Still Enric Mas towards the front. Vlasov swinging the bike from side to side, trying to get his first big classics result of his career. Valverde's really just winding things up. Pogacar right in the wheel. Alaphilippe has come here when it matters. Martinez as well. And all Teuns just bounces out. Teuns tries to go away for victory in the final 200 meters of the Mur de Huy. It looks like Teuns is kicking on the afterburners. Pogacar can't follow. Vlasov is there. So is Alejandro Valverde. Alaphilippe has a long way to bridge, but it looks like it's going to be between Vlasov, Dylan Teuns, and Valverde. Can Valverde or Vlasov come round? Vlasov digging deep for Russia, but it looks like Teuns is on up out in front for Bahrain Victorious. It's going to be between Bahrain and Movistar. Teuns really trying here, but it looks like Valverde's up in front. Teuns and Valverde. Teuns still on the front. It's Dylan Teuns who takes La Flèche Wallonne. It's once again La Flèche for les Belges. It is Flèche Wallonne. It's Belgian again, and it's Dylan Teuns from Diest who takes it. The man from Bahrain Victorious. They're victorious once again. And this Classics campaign has been phenomenal for them. What a result for him. Second place to Valverde. Third for Alexander Vlasov of Bora Hansgaard. What a ride. Pogacar failed. Alaphilippe missed the mark, as did Michael Woods. But what a ride from the man from Belgium, Dylan Teuns. Belgium going crazy tonight. They have La Flèche Wallonne back. We haven't seen a Belgian win that race. You haven't seen a Belgian win Liege-Bastogne-Liege in a number of years. But Dylan Teuns finally gets this. He's been on the podium in the past. And now the man from Bahrain Victorious gets that big victory he's been waiting for. The riders now, the stragglers come home. UAE will be disappointed. Pogacar wasn't right up there in the mix. But what a ride from Dylan Teuns. What a ride from Alexander Vlasov and Alejandro Valverde. Just plenty of rides. Plenty of solid rides from people. It's a great week for the name Dylan. Dylan van Baarle, Dylan Teuns. Next we're going to be seeing Dylan Groenewegen win Liege-Bastogne-Liege. But what a ride. You can just see Teuns right up there in the mix the whole time. He just pushed his way towards the front, launched things before Valverde. Valverde had the kick to get on the wheel to start with, but didn't quite have the kick to get round him. That was the issue there. Vlasov looking good. Vlasov in third wheel with Alaphilippe just chasing onto the wheel. But Alaphilippe just could not cross that gap. Pogacar cracking there. I really thought that this would be Pogacar's kind of thing. Maybe he's just more of a Liège specialist. But Dylan Teuns looking phenomenal. We thought Valverde could come around on the final corner, but no. It was all in for Dylan Teuns. And Belgium takes La Flèche Wallonne. And it is Dylan Turns who tastes victory. Bahrain, their first ever Flèche Wallonne victory. It's the first Belgian. I mean, I need to do some number crunching now. This is Dylan Turns' third professional victory. It's the